Did I say anything racist this time?
You better get out of here, honky.
And now for something completely different.
I got moves, man.
Well, two honks and Kim just messing around. You'll never know what they talk about on two honks. Two honks and Kevin. You might hear something about the NBA. Maybe they'll just make your day on two honks and Kevin. It's sports and life and family too. Let's all listen to two honks and a Kevin. Yeehaw! Just crap my pants.
All right. It is August 18th, 2021. So we are sans Blake for now today. He may end up popping in because he can't help himself. So we have Kevin. Say hello, Kevin.
What up? What up?
And we have the occasional guest, JD.
Hey, what's up, guys?
And we have special guest today, David.
Hello.
Hey, so I guess how's everybody doing? We doing good?
I'm enjoying the intro. I think it's the first time I've ever heard it.
Okay,
It's
yeah.
awesome.
It's classic.
I don't know if to like that or if my feelings are a little hurt.
I'd find somewhere in the middle.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
I don't think I'd ever heard the part where Kevin is like totally down with everything R. Kelly did. I didn't.
Yeah,
I never heard
actually
that
said
part.
that too. Yeah,
I
don't
did
know what
not.
we're-
Yep, that was not a. Yep.
I got to rethink a few things, but I'm good. I'm good for now.
It's totally out of context. Out of context for anybody.
No.
No.
Yep. So we are currently live on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch, as well as the recording. So yeah, good times. So I guess we should probably get to the whole purpose of David being here, just to kind of make sure we give him enough time. David is actually a published author. He's what's this? Your fifth book, if I'm correct. Your fifth official book. And you've been in other books, just not like haven't you done parts of stories in other books?
Yeah, I've got one that's in a anthology that was for charity, and I have one that's actually coming out in the end of this month. That's going to be in a web magazine, I guess they call it. They're called Drabbles, which are basically just 100-word stories. So I got one of those in there, and then I got another one that I'm trying to get out by the end of, I think it's going to be October that they post that one.
Okay, very nice. Well, so just kind of a little background here. We've your first three books were a trilogy based on The Broken Ones, which is kind of a take on modern day superheroes and the flaws that they may have.
Right.
So how would you was that how you would describe it? How would you describe it?
The way I sort of came at it was, what if people had superpowers and how would things really happen? One of the things it touches on is the idea that, people seem to find out what their powers are just completely randomly when, other people would have died if they'd been in that instance. So it kind of deals with that, like, how did this person discover what they could do? How did that affect them, just narrowly escaping death? And then basically, there are people that use it for good, there are people who use it for bad, and just kind of what motivates them to do these things, and then how it all culminates.
Yep. Okay. Yeah. So, and you can get all of those books on Amazon, and they are those ebooks as well now?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, all of them are ebooks.
Okay.
I have one that's an actual audiobook now, but just one.
Is that the first one, or is that Shattered Psyche? That's the audio.
Shattered Psyche. Yeah.
Shattered Psyche. So that Shattered Psyche is your fourth one, and then can you kind of go into detail about that one?
Sure. It's a collection of short stories that are all over the map. Basically, I'll get an idea, and I'm like, hey, that'd be kind of interesting to write about, and then I would send it off to people, see if anyone would pick it up. After a time, I was like, well, I'm just going to start putting them into books, and then having people read that. So that's kind of been my thing lately. Is making short story books. I do have one that I'm working on that's a full length, but I'm still trying to shop that one around to see if someone will pick it up. I think a couple more um, refusals or denials, and I'll probably just self-publish that one.
Yeah, and there are companies out there like I think Amazon now is really big into self-publishing. I think that's not a super recent thing, but I think in the past few years, right, they've
Yeah,
kind of
yeah,
made it easier for authors to submit a book, and they pretty much will do everything up front. Is that accurate?
yeah. You don't pay anything as far as to Amazon to get it set up. Obviously, you pay your editors, your photographers, whoever you need to do
Mhm.
stuff with. But then basically what they do is if someone orders a book, they'll print it and they'll give you a piece of it, and then they get the rest.
Nice. That's a good model, I think. Do you think so? Being an author, that I know, of course, the dream is to have one of the major publishers like a Tor or one of those places publish your book. But I guess this is a good route to go.
Yeah, one of the things that I was told by authors that came before me is to steer clear of the smaller time publishers. Not so much that they're bad; it's just that they take part of your money, and you still have to do most of the legwork. Get yourself out there, talk to people, go to conventions, whatever you need to do to people see your book. They actually have access to more people, so you have that as far as a benefit. But with Amazon and all these companies that are letting you know, publish from home, as it were,
Mhm.
that's the way to go. If you don't get one of the big six, then yeah, just self-publish and move on.
Yeah, really, access is a thing of the past. I mean, with the internet, with LinkedIn and Twitter and
Yeah,
podcasts, like you can you know throw a pretty wide net, and if not a single wide net, you can throw a bunch of little ones per each social media medium you're on. So that's a good way to go. Um, and then just to kind of get into your newest book,
hmm
Nightmare Fuel. Um, that definitely does seem to be a title up your alley. So if you can just kind of take us through how that book came to be.
So I like to study psychology. I'm slowly making my way towards a doctorate for it, and I like the idea of embedding psychology into the horror stories because I think it makes a better horror story. So I started writing stories that I could expand upon an idea in psychology. Try and say, okay, you have these people that have these paranoias or psychosis that a lot of people have some version of. Like when you're up at night and you start seeing things in the corners that aren't there, everyone has that. So take that and then take it a step further and say, okay, there is something in the corner. You just caught it for a second. Um, Other people, they may catch it for longer, and if they catch it long enough, that thing will see them. That kind of thing, where it's exploring the idea of, okay, there's a psychology behind everything that we have as a shared experience. Is the
Mhm.
best way to explain it. Some of them are just like one of the stories that we lovingly refer to as Murder Dog is
Yes.
it, well, it came across the idea is like I have a dog that will hunt and murder rabbits, and we have a fenced in backyard. So if a rabbit gets in the yard and we don't notice when we let the dog out to run, he will kill it if he can catch it, and he's done it several times. So it's gotten to the point where I'm the only one that cleans up the dead bodies, so I have to do that. To the point where I become apathetic to the rabbit's plight. I don't want them dead, but at the same time, I'm less concerned. I'm like, you guys know this is the killing ground. You're coming in here knowing that your other family members have died in here, and you're still doing it. That's on you. And so I thought that was kind of funny that we do the same thing as humans to haunted houses. We go into haunted houses knowing that the story behind them is that somebody went in there and died, and we still stupidly go in. So I was like, all right, let me write a story from the perspective of the owner of that house, the spectral entity, or whether the ghost, the demon, whatever you want to call it. How does he see this going down? Pretty much the same way I did. He starts out with like, oh, that's horrible, but then it just keeps happening to the point where he's like, I just don't care anymore. Just deal with it. I don't want to deal with it.
Yeah, I
The
think,
story
I
behind
think
that.
one of the interesting things about that particular story was the emotional plight of the owner. Like, and even though there was a short story, you could tell as the story went on how he started. It started out as what the hell to like, well, I mean, this is just going to happen, and they keep coming, so it's not really my problem anymore.
Yep.
So you kind of see that progression as it continues to happen, how he started as very almost empathetic towards the people to whatever. So yeah, that was a good story. Now, the I think the interesting thing about the book in general too is that each short story is very different. Like, you have one, like the first one's very sci-fi-ish. And another one is, like you said, it's kind of a ghost story. And then you have one that's based off of medicine. The one where he's being given the shot.
Yeah.
And then like you have several stories, and they're all set in different story types, timelines. Like, and so there's a story in there that you'll probably enjoy, probably more than one, to be fair. But since there's so many of them and they're all so different, there's a few of them that you're gonna enjoy.
You got
So
variety.
Yeah.
right, yeah. So it's like an Eminem mixtape, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a good book, and of course this is out on Amazon too as well.
Yep.
And is this one ebook as well now? Or
Yeah. I set it up to be an ebook on the same day.
so it is an ebook. Yeah. Okay. And then your policy on signatures. Can you discuss that a little bit and how it came to be?
Sure. So when I first started, I had to come to the term with, am I going to sign books? If I do, am I going to charge people for them? What's the thought process behind that? And then it occurred to me that since I'm doing all of my sales myself, trying to get my name out there, that the best way to do that would be to collaborate in a way with other people. So I made this idea that, okay, if I sign the book to you, I want a picture of you with the book. And then like I would have them send it to me either on Facebook or wherever. And then I would say, okay, are you cool if I tag you in this photo? And they would say, yeah. So then I knew that not only was it going out to the people that were my friends on Facebook, but then their friends as well. So then I got a little bit more coverage that way. And I got to have all these cool pictures of people reading my book. So it came to be almost to an addiction at this point. Like if I'm having a bad day and someone sends me a book picture, I am absolutely ecstatic. It's fun, especially like if they start doing things where, like for the broken ones, it was superheroes. So if they got in a costume, all the better. Or if they were somewhere that we want to be, like they're at a beach reading, or they're next to a pool, or they're somewhere cool, then it was even better. Like, okay, cool, cool people or cool places reading my book. That's awesome. And it kind of kept it being that just was the way I kept it because I liked it.
Yeah. Okay. So let me see here. Screen.
Uh-oh.
I've seen a lot of these, and I think it's really cool.
See if that works here. We'll give it a second. I got to turn it on, don't I? Hang on. There we go. Okay. Yeah, you're going to see some of the audio in the background. There we go. Okay. So there's our book. So yeah. So $15 paperback, $15 Kindle, right?
Yep.
And then let me see here. The other ones.
You should be able to click on my name underneath the title, and it'll go to my page.
Okay, so here's the author. Okay, so there's the books. So Broken City is the first one of the Broken series.
No, the Broken Ones is.
Oh, Broken Ones. Okay, there we go. Broken Ones.
Then Families, then
Families.
City. Yeah.
And then there's a variant cover.
Yeah.
Families, and then Broken City.
Yep.
And then Shattered Psych. Do you still sell T-shirts or anything?
Yeah, I have what is that, Teespring account.
Okay.
that has like shirts, mugs, all sorts of nonsense. I probably should find a way to make sure that they're all in one central location. I have a WordPress, but I rarely use it. My writer friends are like, "Hey, you should go on there, put something down." But I just like they'll do is they'll like critique their favorite movies or just movies they've seen out that that are popular right now. But I'm of the mindset that I don't think people care what I think about a movie. I watch horrible movies. I watch B movies just to chill out at the end of the day. So obviously my standards aren't very high to begin with when it comes to movies. So who cares what I think about it? Plus, I used to work at a video store, and I found out very quickly that a lot of people have a lot of different things that they like. So when they would say, "Hey, what's a good movie?" I'd be like, "Well, what's your favorite movie?" And then I could, judge based off of that what movie I could reference them to.
Yeah. Okay. So I think I found you on Teespring here.
Yeah, that would be me.
So yeah. So there's some cool T-shirts here. I think we have a few. So then there's I have this one. Yep.
Yeah, I do like that cover. That was a really cool cover.
There's also a hoodie.
Hoodie. Nice.
And a wife beater. That's
Yeah.
a Broken City wife.
Tank top, but all right.
It's called an A tank.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. What else? Is it only those two that you have?
No, it should have
Oh, you know what?
Shattered Psyche.
There's this one. Let's see here. Wonder if we go just to shopping here. Broken City. Hey, there's this
That
one.
green one.
Daily migraines are a full-time job.
Oh,
That's not me.
Let's see here. Daily Joe. You said there's a shattered psyche?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Down, pull up. Let's just see. Teespring.
Try Nightmare Fuel.
Okay. T-shirt spring. Nightmare Fuel. A bunch of things, but I don't think I want to.
Is it Teespring or is it TEE Spring?
TEE.
Let's see. Teespring. Let's try that. Hey, there's yeah. Failed experiment. Yeah. I guess you just have to trust us that they're there. Let's see. Yeah, their site is not very friendly in the search because there's no like search option here.
Yeah.
I think Amazon does their own T-shirt pressing now too.
Do they? I haven't tried that yet.
I think so. Yeah. So that may be something because on TikTok people like to tell you good ways to make money, and that's what someone advertises, and I just keep going on like whatever. Yeah. What kind of money flow do they call it? Do you guys know what it's called? Like passive income?
I forgot. There was one where it's like basically it means that you keep getting paid even though you're not doing anything anymore.
Yeah. I think it's it's there's a whole side of TikTok dedicated to that, and it's like that's a lot of work.
Right.
I feel like I make more money just not doing it. So but back to you, Dave. So this is your fifth book in the bunch. You are coming out with a few more things. You have a 100-word website story.
Mm-hmm.
And then you said you're doing another anthology, and then you have another book you're shopping around.
Yeah, I have one that, as a matter of fact, some of the stories that are in the Nightmare Fuel are set in the universe for the main book. Mm-hmm. The idea I had was that there's going to be moments in the story where you hear the news in the background, and the news talks about things that are going on, and you'll catch references to these stories about that. They'll say, oh, something happened on this planet, and then it'll actually end up being part of the discussion as far as some setting of the stages. But then yeah, I mean it's all into that world, and it is actually my favorite book. It is so hard to edit and finish it because I want it to be so good.
Right.
But I keep tinkering with it. So that's why sometimes I'll send it out and be like, all right, let someone else look at it, see what they say, if they say anything, and then if it comes back, then I'll tinker with it some more, kind of thing.
So, is it safe to say that Nightmare Fuel will be part of the DJU?
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anything that you read that talks about the ministry as far as an organization is set in that world.
Okay. Awesome.
Yeah.
I'm not going to ask you any questions about that book, the new book, because I'm sure you just kind of want to keep that under wraps. So, speaking of have you anybody here watched the latest What If?
Mm-hmm. Watched it
Not
about
I.
2 hours ago.
You
Not
watched
yet.
it. I'm not going to give anything away, but I don't know about you, David, but I really enjoyed this episode.
I did. I liked the way it changed up a few things, and I definitely liked the very end when he's like, "Oh shit," that part made me laugh.
Oh yeah, that was good. There's so much. There was so much to unpack about that. I feel like there's a lot more to unpack with that episode than the first one.
Absolutely.
CJD, we're gonna have to watch this tonight.
I know, right? Like I'm like,
it's
all right,
going down
It's
for
really
me.
good.
Yeah.
It is. I mean,
Yeah.
they did a good job, and it has Chad Boseman's voice in it. So I mean, it's him. So it was really well done.
Yeah. Well, when they started splashing like the actors on the screen, I was like, they got like everybody. I was like, how did they do this? So it was pretty cool. I really enjoyed it. JD, have you watched Black Widow yet?
Yes, I did catch that. Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see because I keep hearing that they're gonna incorporate the what if, and then they're not gonna incorporate the what if, but they could incorporate what if. Like I don't know for sure what.
Yeah, they keep saying that it's a possibility. Basically,
they did do a few things in this episode that I was like, they could probably take that and incorporate that, and that would be pretty dope.
See that's what's interesting about that. Like since it's an animated thing, they can kind of do whatever, and it's a what if. So if it doesn't work, then be like, yeah, no, that was just a what if. Like,
right?
But they could get out there and be like, if people respond to it in a certain way, they can be like, all right, that got a response. Let's figure that out and let's put that in.
It's almost like a pilot. They can pilot anything any idea that they have.
Yeah,
they can pilot in these what if episodes.
That's pretty smart.
I feel like they do such a good job, especially with this episode, and the same thing with Captain Carter, but with this episode of respecting the canon that happened before in a way that they used the previous canon to tell a new story.
Right.
Like there's a ton of elements from the previous MCU movies, especially in this episode.
Yeah, they had a lot of
there's a lot
change ups. Yeah,
it's good. So I'm not gonna say any more, but it's probably the best episode. I cannot wait for the zombie one to come out, but this one I think could still be my favorite. I really want them to do a Deadpool kills the universe what if, but I doubt to do that. But that would
because that's a real what if, isn't it?
Well, so's the zombies. The zombies.
Yeah.
If they did like a season 2, I think is that what you were going to say, JD?
Well, I was going to say there in the comics there was actually 2.
Yes.
Deadpool kills the Marvel universes. He did it a second time.
Yeah. So I.
And I think Jobe, didn't you give me those? Mm-hmm. I think those are presents from you that I was like, fuck yeah. So appreciate it.
I love that storyline.
Yeah.
So yeah, if it's anything Marvel's good at doing, they do a good job with those kind of storylines, the offshoot, fun little stories that you just kind of you like to imagine.
And they've got like a backlog of those comics that they could just be like, all right, let's do another 12 seasons of them. They've got tons of them.
there's multiple runs of the zombies ones. Like they've done multiple runs of it, different storylines. So yeah, they've got plenty of ammunition. Have you guys seen the picture floating around of Moon Knight?
No.
A picture leak. Do you guys want to see it?
Yeah,
Okay.
sure.
So I'm gonna let me pull it up here and show you guys.
Have they kind of talked yet with the what ifs about which ones they're doing this season, or is it just kind of up in the air to what they're doing so far? Aside from the zombie one, I'm guessing because we've seen something about that.
You can probably find it. I haven't honestly. I like being not knowing from
absolutely
like being surprised.
Yeah,
I think I've only heard about maybe like these couple basically.
Yeah,
like maybe 4 or 5. I think there's
'Cause I
like
know-
there's like a Spider-Man one, being Strange, Doctor Strange or something like that.
Yeah, I know in the comics the one that was like really really well received was what if I think it was the what if Spider-Man became the Punisher. Like he had Spider-Man's powers, but he ended up being the Punisher.
Oh wow.
And like the comic for it was sick. Like it was awesome.
No, that's cool looking.
So that apparently is a photo of what Moon Knight may look like. Now.
That looks
So
legit.
so Moon Knight is going to be a series and not a movie, correct?
Right, it's a series.
So it's going to be kind of like, I keep thinking that this is going to be like almost like a Daredevil type series, right?
Yeah, I think that's kind of what they're going for. I always kind of viewed Moon Knight as Marvel's twisted version of Batman. Whereas Batman obviously has mental issues, but they just don't admit it. Marvel's like, yeah, this guy's got mental problems.
Right.
You know,
because Moon Knight, what I've heard about Moon Knight, we don't even know if this stuff really happens, right?
Yeah, there's kind of from what I understand, there's kind of a back and forth of whether or not he's thinking this is happening or is this happening kind of situation.
Right.
Yeah, and I think maybe we touched on this on a previous episode, but from what I understand, Moon Knight is one of the 2 superheroes that Taskmaster cannot replicate.
Right.
There's probably more, but I think it's Moon Knight is one of them, and then the other one's Deadpool.
Yeah, and if I remember correctly, it's that he can't predict and can't do Deadpool because Deadpool doesn't know what he's going to do.
Right.
And he refuses to do Moon Knight because of Moon Knight's lack of care for his own well-being.
Like Moon Knight does not believe in blocking and dodging.
Yeah.
And Taskmaster's like, well, I'm not going to deliberately put myself in danger. I've got to protect myself. Like, so I will not do that.
So
which is really interesting.
This kind of came up on one of my feeds, and I just kind of was like, oh, that's cool, and clicked away from it because I really don't want to know much else. But I don't know. So Oscar Isaac is playing Moon Knight. So of course he was in Star Wars. What was his name in Star Wars? He was the fighter pilot.
It starts with a P. Poe Dameron.
Yeah. So, and I don't know.
That would be interesting.
I don't know when Moon Knight comes out.
It'd be better than him playing Apocalypse, right?
Did he play Apocalypse?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, you're right. He did. Yeah. I mean, I just think that was as much the CGI, whatever, in the director. I mean, you can only be as what they let you be.
It's true.
And that whole movie was just so bad.
Yes. Yeah.
Moon Knight is due in early 2022. And it looks like Oscar Isaac, Gaspard, can't see what his name is, Uliel, I don't know who he is, and Emily Van Camp is Sharon Carter. So it looks like they're gonna have Sharon Carter on there too. And Bushman.
Bushman?
Yeah. Wasn't he in
No,
wasn't he Daredevil?
No, he was in Bushwhacker was in Luke Cage.
Luke
and
Cage.
that dude was cool.
There you go.
Yeah.
I love that dude's accent, man. That was just
he was
I
incredible.
could listen to that guy talk all day.
Yeah. I wonder if they're gonna end up pulling those characters in.
I hope so. I mean, I really do.
there's a really strong rumor that Daredevil's going to be in Spider-Man.
Nice.
Yes, it's really
Same guy. So I mean, they're canon and on the Netflix show, and they didn't really do anything with the characters. And then also, there's also a rumor that the guy that played Kingpin
is supposed to be back. Yeah,
going to be making an appearance soon too. And
Vincent D'Onofrio.
yeah,
he was really good, and
he was
really
incredible
good. Yes.
as Kingpin. Yeah.
So, and they still haven't released a trailer for Spider-Man. I guess maybe they're not going to. But with them pushing back Carnage, I wonder if they're going to push back Spider-Man too. I'm not sure is the purpose of them, but they only pushed it back a month, so I'm not sure is what the purpose of everything was. Maybe they pushed back Carnage because they didn't want it to get in the way of Shang-Chi.
That could be.
Which I've heard that was really good too. I've seen, like, I saw somebody who was like there for the pre-premiere or whatever, and they're like, "Oh, this is great."
Yeah,
So,
there were a few of the TikTok people that I guess are in with Disney that do a bunch of comic book reviews and stuff, and they rant and raved about it. So we'll see.
So Shang-Chi come out in October?
Shang-Chi comes out September 3rd.
Okay.
They pushed Venom back
That's really
to October.
Okay.
Because it
So
originally
they can have it spread out.
Yeah, that's probably more than likely the case. I mean,
and they're going through their Disney Plus issues, right?
yeah.
Oh yeah, with Scarlet Witch, or not Scarlet
It's
Witch.
Sony though.
Widow.
That yeah, right. Yeah, that whole situation's kind of weird. It's really just millionaires fighting millionaires.
right.
I mean, I would assume that Disney would have taken care of her on the back end somehow. Like they'd have been like, okay, this isn't going to work. Here's another $10 million or something. I don't know. Maybe she wanted more and they didn't want to do it.
I'm sure there'll be a settlement of some kind.
Well, I think the two people that did The Quiet Place 2 movie, they also sued Paramount Plus, I think it was. I think they each got like 10 or 20 million apiece or something. So, but you didn't hear about them,
Right.
Paramount, but
Right.
and then I think what's her name? The chick that did Cruella de Vil,
Emma
Stone. She was thinking about suing, which I think she must have changed her mind because she just signed on to do Cruella de Vil too. So
that was the settlement there. She was like, "I'm gonna sue," and they're like, "Fine, we'll give you a second Cruella movie."
Yeah.
And she's
I still haven't watched the first one.
I haven't either.
No.
I have no. It's so weird because I feel like they make her out to be a good character. So I'm like, she wanted to murder 100 dogs. Like,
just to make a coat.
at least.
Yeah, I don't know. So I haven't seen it, so I guess I can't really judge on it. But it's like that's the emphasis I get because isn't that what they did with Maleficent?
Yeah, Maleficent. Yeah, and that's really good.
It is good. It is.
Yeah, really.
Oh, you
good.
haven't watched it? It was interesting for sure.
Yeah.
See, I even like Emma Stone, and I'm like, nope. Like I'll watch anything she's in, but I'm not gonna watch Cruella.
Easy A.
Easy A was great.
Yeah, there you go.
Zombieland 1 and 2.
Another interesting thing I read today was that Captain America 4 has some actors signed on to it, and Anthony Mackie has signed on to play Captain America.
Yeah, that's cool.
Interesting.
So that'll be cool to see.
Didn't he give Didn't he give it up at the end of the series?
No.
No.
Oh no, that's what he had. Okay, never mind. And
he put it on and had his full speech and everything.
Yeah, and he was having the conversation with the senators and stuff. Okay, yeah. I was like, and then after that, he was like, "All right, I'm out of this" or whatever. So okay, sorry.
Yeah. So apparently, it's going to be helmed by the same people that did Falcon and Winter Soldier. So I'm kind of wondering if they go ahead and put Winter Soldier in it too as kind of
absolutely
secondary character.
I think that they would have to.
You would have to, right? And also makes me wonder too if you're going to see some of the other characters from Falcon and Winter Soldier, Secret Agent. If you're going to see any movement on the whatever new team they're building, with
the Evil Avengers.
Yeah. I think they're going for Dark Avengers.
Yeah, because you could kind of see that at the end of Black Widow where they're piecing up this team right now.
Yeah, I think we might see more if they have Norman Osborn in Spider-Man because he led the Dark Avengers, right? He was
Correct.
here. So I feel like if that's the route they're going to take, there's another faction out there. I can't remember what their name is. It's like X something. I almost want to say X Factor, but that's not the one.
No,
There was X-Men, X-Factor, X-Force.
Oh no.
and
There was
X-Man.
There was Excalibur.
And there's X-Man.
X-Man. No. Let me see if I can figure it out. But yeah, so apparently, of course, they're going to do another. It seems like they're going to do a whole another team. And
Are you thinking the Thunderbolts?
Thunderbolts, yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah,
Okay.
because Norman Osborn also led the Thunderbolts.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm guessing you're probably going to see Norman Osborn pop up in Spider-Man. So that movie's going to be like a shit ton of people. Like it's going to be confusing.
Yeah.
It's like.
I wonder how long it's going to be.
Are we gonna do a 3-hour movie? Like what?
Yeah, that's
Maybe a
what I'm
two-parter.
thinking.
Yeah, it's gonna be
It's
the next Infinity Gauntlet and Endgame.
Yeah,
There you go.
maybe that's why they haven't released a trailer. Maybe they're like, maybe we should just release this in 2.
Well,
Yeah.
wouldn't the Runaways? Is the Runaways like canon at all? They said how
I
that
don't
plays
think
in,
anything Hulu related is canon.
Okay.
I think
because that wasn't a bad series, but
no, it was not a bad
Alright.
series. I think the thought with them was to make them canon, but I don't think there's anything in there to really worry about and why they couldn't just keep it in there.
I mean, I don't think there was anything that
Like
related or didn't.
it took place after the events of New York, and they made, and actually, it wasn't part of it was they were buying up property that were destroyed because of New York. That was like one of the whole storylines. Was one of their parents was like somebody, and they were
Yeah.
buying the property.
So yeah, it was kind of like some weird kind of cult thing because it was it was set out in California, right?
Oh, was it? Okay.
Yeah, and so, and yeah, there was a property dude who was like in a construction business, and they were like drilling to the center of the earth. I don't remember exactly.
If you haven't watched it, I think it's only 2 seasons, and
Yeah.
I don't think there's anything else to it.
Yeah, it's not bad. It's not great, but it's not bad either. It's worth a watch.
There's another like really weird Hulu Marvel show. I think it's called like Hellstrom. Have any of you watched it?
No, I didn't even know about it.
Let me see. I watched like an episode. Hulu,
I watched Who has one on there that it looks like a guy that looks like Krang from the Mutant Turtles. You guys
MODOK.
seen that?
MODOK.
MODOK. Yeah, there it
MODOK.
is. I've seen
I
an
watched
episode of
an
that one too.
episode of it, and I was like, I get what you're doing, but I just don't.
I watched
Yeah,
like half of the season.
I just
I
can't.
just no, I couldn't even no.
Was it?
I couldn't watch it for some reason. Like I was like always on my phone because like it wouldn't grab me for some reason.
It was mechanical organism designed only for killing. That's what MODOK
Yep.
stands for.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's they try very hard to be an Adult Swim kind of
Yeah.
show.
It did have Patton Oswalt, which is nice, but
Yeah, so this is Hellstrom on Hulu, and it's
that's a Marvel show.
demonic based,
All right, I like that.
and serial killer based.
Hmm.
So it's interesting enough. But it just wasn't something I was like, I'll watch more. I was just like,
Mhm.
okay. But
My son and daughter of a serial killer. So I was gonna say, it almost kind of looks almost like
Hannibal.
Constantine.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly kind of what it is, because the guy has like these weird powers, and his whole thing is he can deal with demons. Like that's his deal. And so he's he works with the Catholic Church and debunks attempted people that try to say somebody's possessed. Like the very first scene of the show is some kids pretending to be possessed just to fuck with his parents. And he comes in there and he's like, he's just fucking with you, right?
That's funny.
Nice.
So yeah, it's an interesting show. So if you want a Marvel fiction, if you haven't watched that one's good too. Runaways was good. of the two, I'd say Runaways is probably the better one. If you haven't watched Legion, that one's pretty good too. I think that one might be on Hulu because that's an FX show.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember who that is. Like, I'm trying to
David.
remember. Yeah,
It's Xavier's son.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
they do allude to Xavier and how he got there, and it's a very weird show. Like it's almost artsy, I guess would be the right term for it. I don't know if anybody else here has seen it.
I started watching it and
Yeah, I
just
haven't
couldn't
yet.
get into it.
I caught like bits and pieces, but I was like in the middle of an episode, so I had no clue what was happening. Like I was
It's one
trying
of
to.
those.
That's the
It's-
whole
yeah.
series, dude.
It's
That's the
one
whole
of
series.
those. If you're not paying attention, it's not one you can pick up your phone and play
Right.
Clans on it as you watch it. You gotta kind of pay attention.
Not a sponsor.
Yeah, right. So that's why I misspoke it. But yeah, there's all kinds of like weird comic book stuff out there, like that. So, yeah, I can't wait to see what the next season of The Boys is going to bring.
Oh yeah. Was it Soldier Boy? Was the name of it? Or?
Yeah,
The dude from Supernatural.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Mhm.
So, speaking of which, I guess him and his old co-star got into a tiff.
Yep.
Over, I guess they're doing a not a reboot, but they're doing some sort of a continuation of it.
They're doing their parents.
Okay. So it's
Yeah.
Like a prequel.
prequel, yeah. And
Right.
I guess Jensen and his wife, who I guess both of these guys met women on set and married them.
Yeah.
Suckers.
Some of the women on set are just like, yeah, I get it. So I guess Jensen and his wife are producing it or have something heavy to do with it, and the other fella didn't even know it was going on.
Yeah, he'd gotten a little upset. He's like, hey, you could have dropped me a line saying, hey, you guys are doing this. I'd have been happy to help.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I think it was a little bit more harsher than
Well,
that.
yeah. He was.
And he's known to have like weird, but I think he like also has some sort of issue that he deals with. I don't know if it's depression or what it is that's going on, but yeah, he was not too happy about it, and apparently aired it over Twitter. And
But Jared Padalecki.
yeah,
Padalecki.
Walker Texas Ranger now. So, which that show was on for 15 years, man.
Man, that was every Saturday of my dad's life.
That show was on, like, I don't know, for as long as my wife and I have been married. Like that was so weird. It's so weird. Like you don't see that anymore, right? You don't really see a show on for
15 years, yeah.
more than 5 years. I mean, it's 15,
Isn't that what Supernatural did?
huh?
Isn't that what Supernatural did?
15 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Supernatural did 15 years. So, and the sad thing was they didn't like do the finale the way they wanted to because of COVID. I guess they had like grand plans to like basically include anybody that was in the series somehow, and it all got blown up because of COVID. Because I think they shoot in Canada, and so you couldn't have people fly in to do their parts for the final season. So yeah, that's one of those episodes, a series like maybe you could have squeezed a few more episodes out of that just to kind of get the finale that you wanted.
Yeah.
Which is funny because the same guy that developed this Kripke also is a runner for The Boys. And that's probably how he got, what's his name?
Jensen.
Yeah, I would assume. Because I think, they probably all run in the same circles. Because he also did another show called, I think it was called Revolution.
Oh, is that the one where like the power went out?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. He also did that, and I think that only lasted a season. But I thought it was really good. Like I watched it.
It was an interesting concept for sure. Yeah.
So yeah, I think he left Supernatural to do that. So poor guy. Yeah. So let me see.
And just because I was curious about the Twitter feud, I looked it up real quick.
Oh yeah.
And apparently Jared was like, yeah, people just took my tweet out of context. He was like, and then so he reached out to me. He's like, dude, I'm like, Jensen and I are brothers. Like, it's not a big deal.
Yeah.
Like, so, but he was like, yeah, no, I reached out to him the next day, and Jensen's like, yeah, no, I wasn't hiding anything from you. Like, we just started talks. Like, it's not even written really. He's just like, I didn't even know it was a thing. And he's like, oh, okay, well, no big deal. It's all good. I was just kind of giving you shit.
Well, that's good.
But yeah, he even said like he laughed about it. He's like, yeah, no. He's like, this is why I stay off social media. He's like,
yeah, right.
Way to take it way too far.
Hey, has anybody else here watched the Fear Street trilogy?
I've watched the first two. I'm going to watch the third one here soon.
The third one was good. I enjoyed it. I wasn't really looking forward to watching the third one because I was just like, after the second one, I was like, all right, I kind of get the. But that third one was like, oh, that's awesome. So it's an interesting concept they did because they basically released 3 movies in like a 6-week span.
Mm-hmm.
And so the first one is 1994. And then the second one's 1974. And then, is that right, David?
Yeah, something in there in that time frame, yeah.
And then the third one is 1666.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah.
Fear Street Part 1, 1994. Fear Street Part 2, 1978.
Okay.
Fear Street Part 3, 1666.
If you enjoy like silly horror time-based, go back into time, like, because they really pushed the 90s narrative, because like the 90s music, it's kind of like what
they had an awesome soundtrack.
Yeah, the soundtrack was great. I was just like, man, this is like.
What did you guys watch this on?
It's on Netflix.
Okay.
It's called Fear Street. There's 3 of them.
Okay.
They're each about 2 hours a pop. So
I'm off Friday, so I'm playing on my Friday right now.
There you
go.
Yeah.
It's a good little.
Runaways, Fear Street.
Yeah.
Helstrom. Yeah, you're set, dude.
So yeah, it's if you haven't checked it out, I recommend it if you're a fan of horror movies in general.
All 38 seasons of Supernatural.
Yeah, you can check out the 15 seasons of Supernatural, 24 episodes a season.
Hey, I have to say, man, they had awesome writing when it came to the dialogue and the back and forth. I wish I could write like that.
I was into that show for a while, dude.
I remember one of my favorite episodes, as silly and stupid as it was the Scooby-Doo episode.
Scooby-Doo one was awesome.
Where they went back and then their heads were getting cut off, and they were like, "Don't do that."
Was that the one where they were like actors within their own show, and they were like,
No.
That was one of my favorite ones. It was kind of goofy
like that. But there was so they went back into Scooby-Doo, and I think it was Dean chopped off one of the bad guys' heads, and Fred was like, well, we don't do that here.
That's awesome.
And that was something that was really cool about that series is they would have those episodes every once in a while that were just completely random, like had nothing to do with the rest of the larger story arc. It was just complete goofiness, and it was amazing.
They bring out the clowns and all that.
Mm-hmm.
That was one of the challenges of these 24 episode seasons that you had, because they said you always had about 5 trash episodes.
Mm-hmm.
You had to figure out what to do with.
And oftentimes those trash episodes were the best. Like, they're so good.
They're just swinging it.
They always would try to make it like different. Like there was one they did that it was entirely a musical or something.
Yeah.
They did a few good ones. The Scooby-Doo one was really good too. So yeah, I don't know why we're talking about that. It's been like they've been off the air for like over a year now.
Like, oh man, that was a good show. We're those guys now. We're like, hey, remember that show?
Right. It was
TV today.
I was always kind of disappointed they didn't mesh them with Arrow somehow, like just an episode.
Right.
Kind of
put
them in the DC universe just for a second. Just kind of like, because like whenever they had those little crossover events that they had,
they were on CW, man. They
could
have easily done that.
So yeah, I would have enjoyed to see that that happen. Kevin, do we have anything on the list to talk about other than?
Other than David writing books,
David write books.
David writing book. Hey, I did
I
want to
write the
ask you,
words.
David, what kind of process? Like, because I was listening to you earlier, what kind of process is that? Like, you just think of an idea and then like start writing a book and you put it on like this LinkedIn profile and other people look at it. Like, what's the whole process? Is
Okay,
my
so
biggest question.
sure. So basically, what happens is I'll get an idea. One of the
Mhm.
authors, I can't remember who it was, said take your character and put them through the worst thing in the world, and then tell how they got out of it. So basically, mine are more like what would happen if this happened.
Mhm.
So like the one I'm working on right now is uh, this dude sitting on his porch and a nuclear explosion goes off and he sees it coming and he's like, all right, well, nothing I can do. I'm not going to run, so I'll just basically sit on the porch, and it
Right.
basically melts him. But then like all of a sudden it's 2 weeks earlier and he's standing at the factory where he works, and everyone remembers the explosion. So it's like a whole reset. And then my thing was that was the initial idea is there's this global reset over an event. How do people respond to it? What are the different theories that they have for why this happened or what's happening? And then I'll just go from there. Just start writing. With the Broken Ones, it started out with an idea, and then I would have particular plot points that I know I wanted to have in the story. But then the rest of it was just sitting down. Okay, these two people are going to meet. How do they behave? And then there would be times where I'm like, okay, I'm going to write this chapter and it's going to do this. And then when I was done with the chapter, it was nothing like that. And so I'd have to stop and go, okay, how does that affect the story? But then once you get the story together, I send it off to several editors to look at. I have a main one, which is Matt Crowder. He's really good. He'll go
Mhm.
through it with a fine tooth comb, say, okay, this is scientifically inaccurate, or hey, this doesn't make any sense. This sentence is garbage, that kind of thing.
That's a
So
good thing about him is that you have editors that all they'll do is they'll tell your punctuation's wrong. Matt will also tell you your story's fucked up.
yep.
He's like, yeah,
Nice.
this doesn't make sense. You said this person is like this earlier, and now you're making him do this. That is not in his character.
Or even scientifically inaccurate. Like,
Right.
Yeah, one of the best stories from that was I have from the first book. There's this group that are on a planet and they're taking off at sun up, and just the way I described it, he comes to me and he's like, "Hey, your sun's in the wrong location by what you said earlier," and I was like, "Holy shit, you caught that!" And so like ever since I was like, "All right, man, you're anything scientific related, I'm handing to you, no doubt.
Right.
Look at it." And then basically after I get the editing done, round about that time is when I start thinking, okay, what's the cover going to be? What's the name going to be? And then depending on what I do, like if I'm going to have an artist draw it or if I'm going to have photography done, I'll reach out to whoever I want to have do that. And then I'll get Ali Knopf involved. She is the graphic artist that's done all of my covers. Really good. Definitely always go back to her for that. She'll set up the cover art for me, whether she created the actual cover art for the last one completely. The ones before that she's helped me put together to make it look presentable. Once that's done, then you have to go and basically format the entire book towards the specifications of actually having it in print. Basically it's the idea of like one page has to be pushed to the left, one page has to be pushed to the right, so when it opens up there's nothing in the crack itself.
Right.
So that takes a good amount of time, and then you'll hand it off to Amazon saying, okay, here's my manuscript, here's the formatting, and then they'll say, okay, here's a digital copy. Does it look right? And then if you say yes, then they'll check it. Just make sure that there's nothing that just pops out at them as like, hey, that's not going to work. And then what you can do and what I do is I'll actually order a copy that's a proof, and then I'll have other people look through it, because if I read my own stuff, I know what I meant to say. So sometimes I don't see what's actually written.
Right.
So then I'll have another person go through it and say, okay, find any missing spots, any missing punctuation, or even like, are the chapter headings the wrong size, And then once we get that done, then I can say, okay, publish it and let people know. And then I'll just basically from then on out, I'm just like, okay, who can I talk to? Who can I put it out with? I've been to
Trying to
several
promote.
conventions. Yeah, just promote it any way that I can without being too offensive to people.
Nice.
It's a process.
It definitely is a process,
It
and it
it's a
can be
long
done too long.
process. So
Yeah.
yeah, what's your average? I mean, what is your average time like? Is
Um,
like you come up with the idea today. That your average book is what, like a 2 year process or what?
the first one was the longest, obviously, just because I had to convince myself to actually try it.
Right.
Since then, I could theoretically knock out a book in 6 months. I just don't write that fast. So I would say that about a year is a good average. Um,
Hmm.
there's been a 2 year gap between the last one and this one, but that's because I've actually written a book in between then, and I've just been farming it to trying to get someone to pick it up.
Hmm.
So I'd say about a year. The crunch time happens probably about 2 months to the end. So like 4 months is just me, sitting down at my desk, writing chapters, going back, seeing what makes sense, doing my revisions, and then at that 2 month mark before it's launched, then I'll start sending it off, start talking to people about what the cover is going to look like, all that kind of stuff.
Yes.
In your explosion book, are there explosion deniers, even though everybody saw it?
Well, what I've thought of so far is that there's going to be a group that's we're in a simulation. There's going to be a group that's God did this, and then there's going to be division among those that okay, then why do we remember it? And half is going to be because God screwed up. The other half is going to be, well, He wants us not to do it. That's why He reset it. So we need to know it's coming to stop it. I've been thinking about I really don't want to get too deep in the weeds on the deniers, but odds on favor, there will be people that are like, oh, this is something in the water. It didn't happen. We're all just whatever.
It's a collective hallucination of
Yeah.
some kind.
Speaking of, I would. This is totally off topic.
Okay.
I was watching TikTok the other day,
Right.
and there's a guy on there that basically talks about like Wendigos and talks about how like he laid out a map of the United States, right? And then he laid out on top of that a map of all the missing people. On the map of the United States, what that basically showed is the cave system and the parks, right? He was like 90% of the missing people are either in the cave system or around the cave systems or in those big or around those big national parks.
Right.
And what the hell is capturing people?
It's the easiest way to elude somebody, man.
And then he went on to say, like, what if when God made the flood, what if his intention wasn't to kill everybody, but to kill something?
That'd be cool.
And he was just like, and like Noah and them was just his attempt to save the human race. Like, what if he wasn't trying to kill everybody? He was trying to save humans.
Right.
And something survived.
And there was something out there that he was trying to kill.
That's funny. Well, I mean, if you look at like to that point, all those like national parks and cave systems, like you have a lot less foot traffic and a lot less chance of somebody just happening upon a body than you do like in an alley or something like that.
Yeah. Well, when I went,
I mean, not that I've thought about it, but
so a couple months ago, I took my wife down south to a cave system, and there's the boat tavern, and you go down in there, and they kind of show you when you're down there, no one hears your screams.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
Damn.
So it's just
Is
like
it part of the tour?
It's crazy.
Go down there, buddy, and scream. Go ahead.
Right.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Well,
and they turn off the light, and they're like,
they always do the lights every time.
See anything.
It's crazy when they turn those lights off because like the term like you can't see your hand in front of your face, like literally you're doing this
can't see anything. Yeah.
and you don't know, like you just know it's there because you put it there. That's
like
it.
Magical darkness.
Yes.
Like you're
exactly.
not seeing shit. So yeah, it's all interesting. I watch way too much TikTok, but it's interesting. It's so fun to watch all the bullshit.
I forget what I was watching, but they were talking about how I can't remember. I think it might be China. That there's apparently a legend that they fought aliens, which isn't the funny part. The funny part is that they were defended by giants with red hair, and that the giants with the red hair were basically strong enough to pick up these aliens and break their backs, and that's what got rid of them.
Nice.
But from what I was reading, they also said that these redheaded giants are mentioned a lot in other societies throughout the world. So they're like, the hell were these things? You know, like if everyone was talking about, yeah, there's these redheaded giants running around doing things. Where are they now? What happened to them? You know, why haven't we seen anything about them?
And
But they
that'd
keep
be
showing
funny
up.
because like then that like like that's how people get red hair is because like somehow they were like descended from the red giant.
They're descended from the giants.
They,
It's like,
they,
there's
they,
no rhyme or
they
reason.
turned Super Saiyan,
Yeah, that they say there's like
but it
no
was red.
reason as to why somebody has red hair. Like someone would just pop out with red hair.
Sheesh. That's awesome.
I think I think we've hit our hour mark. I don't know, guys. Do you have anything else? Kevin, did you have anything else?
No, I'm good. I just wanted to know the book process.
Yeah.
Did you guys ever finish Inside or no? All right, good. So no. All right, great.
I always finish Inside.
That does
But,
not
ching.
sound like something I want to answer.
Ah.
It's like the old joke of like, if you woke up camping and you woke up naked and your ass is sore, would you tell anybody? Like, all right, JD, I'm gonna move you to the big screen. Do you want to take us out?
Yeah, take us out.
All right.
Sing us a ditty.
Have a good night, guys. Enjoy your life. Be good to each other. That's it.
I don't know how I